There
Well,
you go.
there I am.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? I'm
Coming
gonna.
at us from where are you right now?
Well, I am coming from a meet and greet. Let's see. I'm gonna get this where it's not so shiny behind me. Coming from a meet and greet in Kansas City area, and had a group of about. I think there was probably 40, maybe 45 people here, and just telling the story of why I'm running and what's going on. And these are just wonderful people, and they were very excited. So you've done a
Well,
lot of things. This is part of what you do as a candidate.
yeah. Well, I got a few neighbors with your signs in their yard. I'm gonna have to go talk to them. So
Exactly. You need to remind them that you are the best and for the job.
I am the best Ann for the job. In fact, one neighbor has your sign and my sign. So
Well,
at least
good. I
one.
like that. You know what? I don't mind. I don't mind having my sign in your yard. Or my our signs next to each other in somebody's yards. I really appreciate you, Ann. Very grateful for you.
I appreciate you. And so, okay, so we chatted before you jumped into the race.
Yeah.
You were announcing your exploratory campaign that morning, I think.
Yep.
And I will tell you, I think I told you, but I'll tell everybody else. When I found out that you were going to run, I was like, okay, who is this guy? And so I reached out to every pastor that I know, and I was like, I was doing my research. I was
Yeah.
like, I background you. There's no secrets from me now. Um,
Yeah.
so you decided to run. A lot of people will say it was late in the game and you
Yeah.
should have started sooner, but you explained to me kind of your path to get here. So you want to
Yeah.
explain that for us?
Sure. Sure. So first of all, I have a great job. I love being the senior pastor of the Church of the Resurrection, a United Methodist congregation here. I love my job. I love the people. I had 4 years until retirement. I already had it planned out. I would preach my last sermon in October of 2030, 40 years to the day from when I started the church and preached the first sermon. And we love, going to our granddaughter's soccer games and band concerts. She's 12 and lives in Lawrence. And so this was not really an aspiration of mine to become a United States senator. But I watched last year when President Trump was inaugurated. And then following that, I always pray for the president. God, please help this guy. I hope he learned something the last time around. I hope he'll, do a better job this time around. Um, but I watched on inauguration day as he signed three of the 24 executive orders, and I thought that's going to hurt people. And each night, Lavana would watch the news, and I would just shake my head and go, "That's just not okay with me." And I turned to my wife after the first month or two, and I say, "Somebody's got to do something." And anyway, we went through a whole year of wrestling, feeling that, and I had people reach out to me, please consider running, and we think you bring something to the table that would be important. And after a year, it was January. My wife turned to me one day and she said, I said once more, I think somebody needs to do something. And she said, I think you need to do something. And we went out on a listening tour across the state of Kansas, took 4 days off of the church, went to 18 cities and just listened to people, just like you've done for, so many times, and listened to, ranchers and school teachers and stay-at-home moms and grandparents and doctors and nurses. And we found our heart just, went out to them. We thought, we have to do better than what's happening in Washington, D.C. And right now it's felt like to me for the last year that Roger Marshall seems to act like he was hired by the president to be a spokesperson, as opposed to being hired by the people of Kansas to be their champion and their protector, to stand up for them and to fight for them. And he votes with the president 100% of the time. And so anyway, we came back from the listening tour, spent more time praying and just trying to discern. And after Easter, 3 months ago this week, we finally announced that we were going to jump in. So it was way late. It would have been ideal if we jumped in 6 months before that. But I was really wrestling with this. I just felt inside like, this is what's happening is not normal in our country. This is not decent. It's not the way, and it's not a Republican or Democrat thing as much as it is just a human decency thing. Policies, that are hurting people, rhetoric that's just demeaning and belittling. And again, we finally jumped into the race saying, look, if there's a chance that I could beat Roger Marshall, I want to do everything I can to see that happen. I don't want 6 more years of Roger Marshall. And I'm really worried about the next 2 years of the final 2 years of President Trump's second term.
And I appreciate that. And so we actually met. I asked you, I said, I want to meet you. I want to go to lunch because whoever of us is elected, whether it's me or you, they're my next senator too, right? And
Yep.
I'm genuinely, and I think we've talked about this, but why I'm in it is genuinely because I'm worried about the future of our country for my kids, and
Yep.
that's really where it started for me is I can't sit out and just allow this to happen without doing something. And this was something that I thought that I could do. And we were pretty much, similar in that way
Yes.
when we had our conversation. And, we both said, I don't know if I'm supposed to win, but I know I have to be here and I know I have to do this work.
Yep.
And I know, I told you, I said, I'm kind of glad you've taken some of the attention off of me because some of it's really nasty. And
Yep.
so is this what you expected it to be like running for an office, or has it been different than you expected, or?
Sure. No, that's a great question. First of all, I want to say how much I was taken with you when we first met. And I appreciate your story. I appreciate your care for, in particular, immigration. And that's really near and dear to my heart as well. And I just thought I loved your heart for that. And what I told you that first day, just like you told me, is, if you were the one who makes it past the primary, I'll be supportive. I'm really glad. I just want to make sure that we give, that we actually do our best to try to get somebody elected other than Roger Marshall. So I was thrilled to have a chance to meet with you and grateful that you reached out to me. It meant a lot to me. And since then, you've been a great encourager. I love that about you. When you see other candidates, you encourage them and you try to find ways to honor them. And I just think that's awesome about you, Ann. I really love that. And but your question was, remind me. I'm sorry, I got off track.
I was just curious
Oh,
because, like, I have been, you expect it to be like you expect it to be kind of messy,
yeah,
but like being part of it and being front row and watching a lot of like when you came in and the drama that came out around that, and then of course there were things that you've already experienced with people putting stuff out about you, other candidates and stuff. So is this
sure.
kind of what you expected it to be like, or is it different, or?
Well, I think that the one thing that surprised me a little bit was that the first round of attack. Well, the first round of attacks was really from a fellow Democrat, and I'm like, oh, I was thinking we were on the same team. I didn't. I expected that to come later on, but I did expect that. There's. I mean, this is the reality of politics today. It's sad and it's tragic, and it's why many people don't run. Really great people don't run. Is who wants to have people make things up about them or twist the truth around or try to besmirch their character and a lot of people I understand say like I don't want that to have want that to happen to me. And I think at 62, I felt like okay, I know that's going to happen, and it's okay. I can handle it. I'll hold my head high. I'm going to try my best to fight a serious battle in this, but at the same time, I'm not going to stoop to the level of belittling people or making things up about them or lying about them. But we got plenty to fight. And I'm thinking Roger Marshall now. We got plenty to stand up on his record to say, that's not okay, and that's immoral, or it's indecent. It's not who we are as humans. That we don't have to make things up or belittle somebody else. We just can say, look, here's your record, and this is just not okay. It's not good for Kansas. It's not good for people. But I would say, yeah, I kind of expected some of that, but I try not to focus on that. I really try to focus on, okay, here's the good we're trying to do, and I'm going to be the best candidate I can possibly be, and not allow some of that to get me down.
Well, and I think people see that, and I think people are fed up with, people trying to tear other people down where they're running. Now, if there was something really concerning that I thought, oh, the public really needs to know this about one of my opponents, and we had this conversation, I would probably
Yeah,
reach out to that person first and say, hey, and in fact, I've done that. There's been people that have posted stuff that was incorrect about immigration law, and I
yeah,
could have, embarrassed them publicly. But what good is that going to do? They're trying, and I did reach out
right.
to them, and I think they addressed it and everything. And I don't want to win because I can slander somebody else. I want to win because I'm
Yeah,
the best candidate for the job, right? And I think
exactly.
me trying to hold somebody else back or put somebody else down. I didn't get in this because I need to be a senator. I got in this because I needed someone to go and fight for me and my people, and because no one was
Yep,
doing it, right? And so it was a real shame, and that's one conversation that we had actually, because
yep,
I don't know you from Adam, except that you're Adam Hamilton, and now I know you. But it was something that I saw coming out too, and so I reached out to you and I said, "Did you know about this?" And you said they didn't reach out to you, they didn't talk to you at all beforehand. And
yeah,
that's just kind of something that I'm not used to as a lawyer. Usually you'll get a phone call at least. And it's just such a nasty way to do things, in my opinion. And I think
yeah,
it's a shame that we've ended up that way. And I do think, that's one thing that I've gotten to know several of the candidates and genuinely like them as people. And while I'm still the best Ian for the job, it's been a relief to know that there are other people that are here because they really care and they want to do something, and
Yep.
to make those relationships and get to know some of these people has been really amazing, and I've really enjoyed it, and
I
you're one of
agree.
those people. And I promised you we keep it light and everything, and so I'm going to do that. I will tell you this: I have one friend who is very concerned about our health care system,
Yep.
and he really wanted me to ask you about universal health care, but I'm not going to take you down that. But I want you to know that people are asking those questions. So if you feel compelled at some point to, talk about that more, I
Yep.
haven't looked at your website and your stuff. I don't have
We've got
time
some, yeah,
necessarily
we've got, exactly. I understand. We've
to
got some
keep
stuff
up
on
with
our
everything.
website. Yeah, hamiltonforkansas.com. People can find out more about where we stand on that. And I do think healthcare it's one of the most critical issues right now of our time. And it's got to be addressed. I mean, and so lots of reasons why we need to be talking about healthcare, rural healthcare, the Medicaid cuts that happened in the one big ugly bill, the fact that we cut out, the subsidies, which left today, there's 51,000 people in Kansas who had health insurance in January of 2025 who don't have it anymore. And that's just, and the impact of that is huge on rural hospitals. It's huge on families, on children. I mean, it's a serious issue, and we've got to address it. So, yeah,
That's something that I think we all hear from everybody, and whether
yep,
they're right or left,
yep,
everybody is concerned about that, and so it's a huge issue. So I'm glad that it's on your radar, and I
yep.
I do really appreciate you joining me. I know this is
Well,
kind of, everybody's like, why is she doing this? I'm also like, why am I doing this? But the team wanted me to. It's our publicity stunt. Welcome to it. Um,
well, I think it's
is
awesome, and I told my team when you'd asked me, I said, I really love Ann, and I just want to, if this could be a blessing or some way to just encourage her as well, I'd love to do that. And I thought the fact that you have invited me, is very generous of you, and I hope you make it through your 24 hours. I hope you could stay awake all that time. But good for you. And I got to I've got to get back to this gathering here, but I just wanted to say thank you, and just wishing every blessing upon you, and
Thank you so
appreciate you
much.
having me.
And real quick, where are you going to be if people want to see you? Where are you next?
Yeah, so I'm going to be in Manhattan tomorrow. Actually, I'll be in Manhattan and Junction City and several other places. It's on my website. People can find out. And I'm really looking forward to hanging out there tomorrow. So, yep, yep,
Well, good deal. Good luck. We got almost 6 days to go. So,
yep.
and then it's all in to the end. So,
That's exactly
take
right.
care, Pastor
All right,
Hamilton.
you too.
Thank you
Great to
so
see you
much.
today. Talk to you later. Bye bye.